Okay, so let's try to implement this use case. I'm on my Remix online IDE. I'm going to create a new file contract. I'll call it inheritance.sol. So first thing I want to do is I want to write my license. So let me just copy paste it from here, and also the compiler version. Right. Okay. So now let's call this contract as inheritance itself. Okay. Now I need an address of owner because we want to transfer uh, ether from owner's account to different accounts. How much asset this particular owner have, which will be type unsigned int. Basically, it will store all the v, and whether this particular owner is demised or not, which will be kind of a boolean value. Okay, so let's create a constructor, and this is the syntax. In order to create the constructor, I want to put table in front of constructor. This will basically tell my Solidity compiler that this particular contract is dealing with ether transfer. Okay, you can only do transfer and send on top of payable type contracts. Okay, so okay, in my constructors I need to assign my value to my owner. I'm going to use this message variable that we talked about in order to assign this value. So whoever runs this program will basically, the value, sender value will be passed, and that's what I'm using for my owner. For my asset, again I'm going to use the message.value, and then for my demise I'm going to initialize it false right now. Okay, then I need some functions that will basically execute my business logic. Add to will is the first one I want to use. I want to take the address wallets that I want to transfer, and then how many V's I want to transfer. Okay, one thing to note, V I cannot use because it's a standard keyword, so I'm going to just put underscore in front of it. And I want to make it public type, and let's implement it. Okay, so in order to store all the addresses and I need a couple of data structures. So I'm going to use address array, and I want to call it, let's say, call it wallets. I want to keep all the wallets address in it, and I want to use map, where I will map my address to how much v I want to transfer. Okay, so, and I can call it inheritance itself with a small I. Okay, so let's use that. So in my wallet, I will push the value of the wallet what I got, and then I want to put into my map uh, inheritance of the wallet. At the wallet key, I want to put the v. Okay, well, that rhymes. Okay, so this is done. Now I want to create another function for the payment. So let's call it asset payment. Okay, and it doesn't need to take any argument, and it will simply, I can do iterate on all the wallet amounts that we have captured, and all the wallets dot length will give me the size of the array. I++. Syntax is very similar to all the other programming language we have been using. Okay, now I want to transfer on the addresses, right? So I need to use payable because I want to call transfer. Then which wallet address you want to pay to. So on my wallets, I need to iterate and get the first address, and then I will call transfer transfer on that address, and how much we had it stored, it is in our maps, so inheritance, and I will get the amount for the same address using the same address value. Okay, so this would work, and let's make one function to invoke this, and I will call it guide. Okay, so when this person demised, basically demise flag will be marked as true, and the assist payments will be done, right? So let me just put it there. Okay, so now this program will work, but I want to also introduce the concepts that we learned about modifiers. Okay, so let's try to add some modifiers in order to put some kind of validations in the program. Okay, so I'm going to use a couple of modifiers here. The first modifier I want to use, and I will call this, you can call any name. I'm just going to call it the owner. And what this modifier will do is it will ensure that the one who is invoking the functions is the owner. Okay, so message dot sender is equal to owner that we have already captured while constructing this, right? And the way you end a modifier is always syntax wise, it is always underscore semicolon. So let me create one more modifier to prove whether the person has already demised or not. So I'll just call it as demised. Okay, and it will require my flag to be true. So my demised is equal to true, and again I'll use underscore syntax. Okay, now let me put this modifiers in front of the functions. So at will only owner can call. Okay, guide, let's say only owner can call, and is demised before the payment happens. I want to make sure the person is demised, right? So it's a very easy way in order to include validations by using the modifier feature in the Solidity program. Okay, so let's save it. It will compile and tell us for any issues. So I do see a problem here. Asset is a keyword. So I'm going to call it message.value. Okay, I need to type. Okay, here it is the problem. Okay. Okay, so now it is fine. Compile. Okay, one more error. What is it? No visibility is very on the. Okay, yeah, I want to call it private, not public. And our compilation is successful, right? So now let's let's get some account. So I already have my account 3 address. So I'm just going to in order to run this program. Okay, and the way you get this address is basically you simply go to your wallet, and MetaMask just allow you to copy your address. So when you click it, you will copy the address. Okay, so let's try to compile and run this. So it is already compiled, but let's compile for one more time just to be sure. Okay, now I'm going to deploy it on my test Ropsten network with initial asset value as maybe 1,000,000 V. Okay, yeah, so 1,000,000 V is fine, and I will say deploy. When I hit deploy, it will again ask for gas authentication. They're charging me 924 penny. Okay, I approved it. Let's see, it will take some time to create, and it is created now. And I can go ahead and check whether my contract is created fine. I can copy the hash of the transaction, go to Ropsten, paste that hash, click search. And if you'll notice, 37 seconds ago, this particular contract has been created. Okay, to the contract. Okay, so now we are ready to interact with this contract. So first of all, let me add the address in my will. Okay, once I transfer 1000, 10,000 V to this account. Okay, and I will say add to will. Again, it will execute my contract, which will again require some gas, but it will be lesser. So it is 227 this time. Okay, meanwhile we are waiting. Let me talk about flattener and the plugins. So flattener is a basically a compiler feature that basically flattens. If you have more than one contract, multi-file contracts, it will, or multiple import statements, it will just flatten everything into a single file, because some of the EVMs do not support multi-contract deployments. So it's always a good idea to flatten them before you deploy. Okay, coming back to my Ether, it has run. So if I click guide now, it will execute my payable method and it will transfer the amount. Okay, so let me click guide. Okay, again gas is required, so let me fuel it. One finny. And so let me talk about some of the plugins meanwhile. So if you see, I have flattener activated and Solidity compiler activated. There are a lot many other like debuggers and everything, all the plugins that you can activate in your Remix IDE. Okay, so if you notice, my transaction is complete and the money is transferred. Okay, and let's see the account. Account 3 should have some V in it. So this is my account 1, account 2, account 3. Yeah, sure enough, some V's are credited. Okay, so if you'll notice, it has received some V. Here it is showing 0 because of the rounding problem, but here you can see it has received it. Okay, so that is amazing.